Hi, welcome to the Get Local podcast, where we introduce you to local businesses and we have real, relevant, and resourceful conversations with business owners about the world of entrepreneurship. My name is JoAnne Fowler, and I am a partner with Get Local, a professional business coach, and your host for today's show. I'm so excited to have our guest with us today, Randy England. And Randy is he's the president of Vets Helping Vets in Greenville, South Carolina. Welcome, Randy. Thank you for joining me today.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
I'm so excited. Randy is the president of a nonprofit. And as my guests know, we have several episodes. We bring on women entrepreneurs, veteran-owned businesses, and then we also bring on nonprofits. So your category actually fits in two of those.
Awesome. Yes, it does.
Nonprofit and Vets Helping Vets. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about who you are. Tell us what your organization does and who your organization is.
So we're Vets Helping Vets Greenville. We're a nonprofit 501(c), started 2 years ago. We service the underserved veterans. The Veterans Administration takes care of a lot of the medical needs and the mental needs. But sometimes when they go home, they have nobody to talk to. They're getting older. The Vietnam veterans are getting older, the transportation piece of it. So we provide Uber for a lot of these veterans to and from the hospitals and the doctor's appointments. So we actually pay for the Uber to pick them up, take them to the hospital or to the doctor, pick them up after the service is over with, take them back home. And we also do visitation. So we have a lot of our veterans. We go visit the veterans. But we're also doing construction projects, home repairs, home construction projects for these veterans. They're get up in age, some of the Vietnam veterans, they're 70s, some in the 80s. And we just provide services for them. But we also do yard work. We do some yard work for them too if they can't go out and do it themselves or they can't afford it. A lot of these folks are dependent on Social Security, but also some of them got some disability from the VA and they get some stipends from that as well, but doesn't provide for the needs they have. So we as Veterans Helping Veterans, that's what our name is. We're going to go out helping veterans. So we partner with Upstate Warrior Solutions. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them.
I'm not. Tell me a little bit about them too.
Upstate Warrior Solutions is a 501(c) as well. They're local. They're the biggest non-veteran program here in Greenville County. They're located off Pelham Road. So we partner with them. They get the people in. They send us the referrals, and we actually go out there and do the work. We actually go to the house. We get the transportation. We work on the house. We go do the yard work. We go pray with them. We try to talk to them about their spiritual needs as well. We get a chaplain that goes out and does that as well. So we try to service the underserviced veteran. Some of the veterans that are younger can provide for themselves. A lot of these veterans, to be honest with you, are going through PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. So we provide services for them as well.
Wow. So tell me a little bit, you used the word underserved several times. So what is that identified as?
A lot of folks with disabilities.
Gotcha.
Could be war protected, but they've been in battle before and they've had some trauma going on with them mentally, physically, and spiritually, to be honest with you. So we try to do the whole person, and we partner, like I said, with Upstate Warriors. Other agencies, the Greenville County Veterans Affairs, we partner with them. Any veteran organization that can send us people that we can help. It takes a village to help these veterans, and that's kind of why we started the Vets Helping Vets 2 years ago, to try to help these underserviced or service veterans that need some help.
That's
if they
great.
need help, we had a guy came into our meeting yesterday. We meet every Thursday at 10 a.m. at the Elks Lodge on Pelham Road. We have about 50 to show up. We had a guy just walk in yesterday, didn't know who he was. He was looking for some furniture. He needed some furniture. So we referred him to Upstate Warriors to get him vetted, make sure he's a veteran, make sure he's got everything he needs, because they can help him with other needs. And then if we can provide him with furniture, we'll do what we can to try to help him to get there.
That's fantastic, Randy.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned something else earlier, and I want to kind of go back to that as well. You said, there's older veterans, especially from the Vietnam era. But younger veterans, I
Yes.
see that a lot as well, who have that PTSD that you mentioned earlier, right?
They do. They've been in battle with Afghanistan, Iraq, the war on terror, just wherever they've been. And they've had some traumatic issues. Yeah. And the VA try to help them with the medical and also the physical needs. I mean, mental needs, and but sometimes they miss out on spiritual piece of it. So I'm part of Brickwood Church in Simpsonville, and we have a program called Reboot, and we try to get the PTSD. We try to heal the wounded soul, if that makes sense. And that's kind of part of my mission as the president of Vets Helping Vets, is to help all the needs of veterans.
Yeah, I think I love that whole body analogy that you gave earlier. Do you guys consider yourself a Christian organization, or
we do not? We try. Well, we could consider ourselves a spiritual organization.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense. We try to take care of the needs of the veteran, and a lot of times it could be spiritual. They're looking for something they don't know they're looking for, and we try to guide them, or sit down and talk to them. We have a chaplain that will sit down and come in and pray with them if that's what they need. Some of the veterans may not be Christians, and that's okay.
Right.
But they need some help.
So do you have a lot of churches in the upstate that partner with you, so you can refer them and plug them into other churches?
You know, funny that you asked. Upstate Warriors has a program. It's called Outreach for the churches, because there's a lot of veterans in the churches, and they're trying to get the churches to start their own veterans program within, because there's a lot of needs there. And all the resources in the Greenville County with veterans, including us, Vets Helping Vets, it takes a village to heal these people, to help them. These folks went to battle. They volunteered, and we call them heroes.
Right, they are heroes.
And they came home, and sometimes they're the forgotten heroes. You know, when they come back home,
Right.
they need a job, they need a car, they need this, they need to have a lot of needs. And like I said, it takes a village to help each other. And so we partner with a lot of veteran organizations around, so we can help each other, help these veterans.
So it doesn't sound like there's a lot of crossover. It sounds like you guys are working perfectly in conjunction with each other.
Yes.
You know, have one organization that does one thing, another one that does something totally different, and kind of it sounds like you fill in the gaps where there is something maybe missing.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Absolutely. And we actually go out there and do the physical work. We got work on the home repairs. We have a construction guy that goes out there, and he's been 50 years in his own business. He comes, and we have 6 or 7 with build ramps, wheelchair ramps, the disabled. They don't have, and the VA sometimes takes 6 months to a year, just slow with the federal government. They would pay for it, but these vets can't wait 6 months to a year to get a wheelchair ramp, so we'll go out there and build one with wood.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And it takes 2 or 3 days to get it done, you know, but we'll get out there and get it done.
So, Randy, are you a veteran yourself?
I'm a military vet. I'm a Navy vet. I did 4 years in the Navy.
Well, thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
I guess that gives you a little different perspective because you have served, right?
Well, not only that, but my father, I grew up as a military veteran. My dad was a Marine, 30 years in the Marines, so we moved around. So I grew up as a military brat. My brother was in the Marines. My other brother was in the Air Force. My sister-in-law was a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. So I got a lot of veterans in my family. And sometimes when, like you said, when you get out of the service, who's there to help you other than your family and then your friends? So that's why we started as Vets Helping Vets. What can we do to service these heroes that are forgotten?
So how many staff members do you guys have?
Have 0 staff members. We're all volunteers.
All volunteers.
Yeah.
So how many volunteers do y'all have?
We probably have active volunteers, about 50. We have a Facebook page. We have about 1,100 followers that follow us to send us quotes or look at things so they can help us. They send donations in. We're a nonprofit. We try to go out and do some raising money because building these ramps costs about $1,200 just to build a ramp with the wood. And we do the free labor. So sometimes we have a lot of stuff. We just did a house in Simpsonville. The gentleman has 4-stage multiple sclerosis, and he lives with his mom. So we had to go in and refit the house because of the wheelchair and because of the electric chair that he's in. And we went in, and Mungo Homes helped us. We partnered with Home Depot. They come and helped us with some money. And most people love veterans, but until you go out there and ask them, hey, we got a vet that needs some help. Can you help us? And that's where I come in, and my board and the volunteers knock on doors, say, hey, we need some help here to get this veteran situated. Donating wheelchairs, donating electric wheelchairs, just a number of things. And I think the community comes in and helps. We as a group need to do a better job of marketing what we do and helping these veterans. And that's where social media comes into play. And hopefully this podcast will
Yes.
get it out there.
Well, I want our listeners to know that you have financial needs, and
Yes.
then you have hands and feet needs. You need people to come out
Need
there and actually
volunteers.
volunteer. And I'll tell you, I've worked for a nonprofit myself, and I think you're one of the first nonprofits that I've spoken to who says 100% of what comes in goes right back
It does.
into helping the veterans. I mean, what an amazing organization, Randy.
We have liability insurance we got to pay for.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the only thing that doesn't we got to pay for, and that's what we don't use for administration. So I'd say 96% of what we bring in goes back out.
That's fantastic. And for volunteers, it sounds like you need a wide array of volunteers, because if you're doing all types of home repairs and or lawn maintenance,
Yes.
those. So you need a lot of variety when it comes to your volunteers.
We do, and a lot of folks think because it says vets helping vets doesn't mean you got to be a veteran to help. So we veteran supporters. So we have a lot of veteran supporters that are members in our group, from real estate folks to just networking. We just have a lot of folks that are non-veterans that want to help. Had a guy yesterday walked in, didn't know who he was. He's a mechanic. He said, "I understand you got car repairs sometimes for transportation." And I said, "Yeah, we do." He said, "Well, I want to help."
I think that's fantastic.
And-
So regardless of whether you're skilled labor or not, you can definitely use volunteers, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, veterans, non-veterans, anybody that can help, have a passion. All veterans are touched by the family, because even though they might not be in the military, they've had a grandfather, they've had an uncle, they've had a father, they've had somebody in their lineage that's been a veteran that served this country, and we want to try to help those folks that need help.
Yeah. Now, you were talking earlier about the ages, and we kind of said it's all ages. What would you say is probably the youngest veteran that has come to you guys for help, and what would you say would be the oldest veteran?
The oldest veteran's probably 85.
Wow.
And the youngest veteran, I would say, is 38. Yeah, we've had some veterans just come out. I mean, they had PTSD, and they need a place to live. They need transportation. I got a veteran right now. His car's not. He can't get a job. Well, we helped him go get a driver's license because he didn't have a driver's license. I don't understand why he didn't have it, but we pushed him a little bit to get his driver's license. Now we're going to fix his car. And I'm a former human resource director, so I did HR for 30 years. So I know a lot of people in employment. So I'm going to help them get a job. So,
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, if our listeners are listening and they want to help veterans, who are recovering, get back into the workplace, they need to reach out to you, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, so not only the hands and feet of going out and doing the labor at a home, but maybe just helping them get a job,
Absolutely.
helping them get back into the
Well,
workforce,
employment
right?
skills too. What do you need to say when you go in and talk to somebody to get a job? Everything's online now. If these skills are not online, we'll try to help them as well.
And would you think I would think someone with PTSD may be afraid to go in for an interview. So the interview might need to be a little bit different
Sure.
for someone in that situation.
Absolutely,
Right?
absolutely. They're hard workers. They just dealing with things just like life. I mean, we deal with things every day.
Absolutely,
And
all of us, right?
Sometimes we need a crutch or need somebody to guide us or direct us, and that's what we try to do, is try to help. Upstate Warriors does a lot of employment as well. We refer them to a lot. Somebody's looking for, they have a employment person there, and they actually help us. So we refer back and forth. They refer us, we refer them. We kind
Yeah.
of work better as a team, and it makes a big difference when you.
Well, my husband is a Navy vet. He was in for 9 years. And, I know that there are resources available for the vets, but
Yes.
there are those shortfalls that you kind of mentioned earlier. My husband goes to the VA and he hasn't had some of the bad experiences that other people have spoken about. It's been good experiences
Yeah.
for him, but the financial aspect of it isn't sufficient. And thank goodness he still has another job to supplement that. So do y'all find that you have veterans who are struggling financially?
Absolutely. A lot of them do. I mean, some of them come ask us for money directly, and that's why we've referred them to Upstate Warriors. They have some programs that can help them with financial assistance, home assistance. They have Austin Wilkes. They don't have a place to stay. We just picked up a veteran this week. He didn't have a car. He didn't have any family or friends lived here. Well, we went and picked him up. He had hip surgery. Took him to
wow.
the doctor. We had some veteran did that, and then we took him back home afterwards because he spent 2 days in the hospital. So it's stuff like that they don't know who to call. They don't know. So when you see online, especially with Facebook, vets helping vets, hey, what can you do to help me? We might not can help them, but we know the people who can help
Oh,
them.
that's great.
So we refer a lot of people.
That's right.
And-
And that goes back to that network of organizations that are
Absolutely.
working together.
Absolutely.
Our organization, Get Local, that's one of the things that we try to do is we try to make connections for businesses. And we
Yeah.
always say, no competition, just connections.
That's exactly right.
And nonprofits sometimes I think can fall into that realm. Well, so and so got a grant, or so and so got this, and this company's donating to them, but they're not donating to us. But there's enough grants and enough organizations that if everybody stepped up and helped the nonprofits who pick up in the areas that the businesses can't service,
That's right,
then we could really take care of our community.
Absolutely.
I really believe that.
Yeah, so, it's all, like I said, it takes a village to help each other. And we're doing this voluntarily because we got a passion. We've been a veteran, and we know how sometimes your struggles can be. So, and they understand too, we're all veterans, and they can come in and have a safe space and talk to us about their trauma, or talk to about their needs, and not be embarrassed by it. Because, hey, we're a veteran too. Hey, you're my brother. You're my sister. You were in combat with us, or you were there with us. You were on the ship with us. You was there. So we know what kind of person they are, and we depend on each other. And that's kind of what
kind of homelessness do we have? Do you know in the upstate what the percentage is for veterans?
I don't know the answer to percentages, but there is quite a few homeless. There is. And upstate warriors, as I mentioned several times, they know the needs as well. So we partner with them during when it gets cold months if they're homeless. So a lot of them need socks, a lot of them need blankets, a lot of them need this stuff. So we work with them with the Veterans County Affairs Department, and we all come together to try to put needs together, take out to the homeless. And the veterans, why would the veteran be a homeless? And there are agencies here that help, like the Austin Wilkes Society. There's HUD-VASH. There's these are different acronyms for some of these agencies that they use. So we partner with them. We refer them. They refer us. We get the VA clinic here in Greenville. They refer us to care workers. We had a veteran that needs some. He just got home, had his leg amputated. So he came home, but we found out that home was not habitable because the pest control needed to take care of. So the company I deal with, my personal company, I called them up and I said, hey, can you guys help out a veteran? He said, you tell me who it is, we'll do it free for him.
Oh, that's wonderful, Randy.
So we went on and pest controlled his house, and took about 2 days for him to get it all cleared out and got it all fixed, and we got him in his house.
So if we have one of our listeners and maybe their neighbor, because I think, I look at my husband, he's a very prideful man, and, he was proud of his military service. And I think most people in the military are givers.
They're givers.
That's why they join the military, because they want to give back. They want to take care of their country, right?
Yes.
And so a lot of times those veterans, whether they're men or women, they're not going to pick up the phone and call somebody and say, I need help, right?
No, not.
So if my next door neighbor is a veteran and I know that they're struggling, would your organization be a good place for me to just pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I think my neighbor needs somebody to come out and talk to them?
Absolutely. If we can't do it, we'll definitely do it. If we can't do it, if it's a different need that we can't handle, then we know the people to call that can help.
So you're a good place to start. If they don't know what to do, they can call you, right?
And I want to put a plug in for Upstate Warrior Solutions too. They're a great place to start, and we love them. They love us. They want to serve the veterans community as well, and then we want to do as well. So it's each hand washing the other hand. Right. It's kind of what we do.
So as a nonprofit, you have to raise money. Tell me a little bit about some things y'all do to raise money.
We've been to Floor Field, the Greenville Drive. We do concessions there. We did it all year this past year, all summer, and getting volunteers to go out there. We get there about 5:30. We don't leave there at about 10 after the game.
Oh my goodness!
So it's a full day, and you're standing up the whole time, and you're selling concessions, and you're preparing some of the food as well. So we've done that. We just had in Simpsonville, we had a place called The Station. It was a sports bar, and they just had a fundraiser for us, and we raised about $4,000 doing that.
Wow.
So anywhere and everywhere, we just try to knock on doors. I applied for a couple of grants. Haven't received any yet, but we're still applying, and hopefully we'll get some. But that's why I want to do this podcast, to get our name out there, what we're doing in the community. And if you're a veteran, or if you know a veteran needs some help, or we're here to help.
Yeah.
And
well, that's great. And listen, if any of our listeners, if your organization does grants, please reach out to Randy and let him know so he can put an application in for it. Because I know sometimes grants seem to be hidden underneath. And, y'all have only been doing this for about 2 years. So a lot of times you might not know of the available grants that are out there. And just by someone telling you about it doesn't mean you win it. You have to go and apply for it. But at least you would maybe find some new grants to apply just from some of our listeners.
And I've had some banks, and I've had a couple of banks banks, and I just did the Jolly Foundation. That's a RC Cola Foundation. I just applied with them, but won't know until November. But we're doing some great stuff in the community for veterans, and we just need volunteers and some financial backing to make sure we can do a lot of things. Home Depot's been great. They're just good folks. Mobility Works, who deals with wheelchairs and try to get folks that can't move around anymore. They've been great. We had that van that was donated to this veteran over in Simpsonville. It was donated by Geico.
Oh, wonderful.
And we did a GoFundMe page for this veteran. We raised $30,000. To refit the van so he can get in and out of the van with his electric wheelchair to get to VA appointments and things like that. So we try to partner with a lot of organizations so we can get things done for these veterans. And it's not about competition. It's about taking care of people.
That's right. It's about taking care of people. It's the connections. It's all of y'all connecting together to take care of people. Well, Randy, do you have a specific need right now? Is there one financial program that you're trying to fund or one vet that you're trying to fund? What do you need right now? I mean, volunteers, I know, but right now, today, do you have a financial need that we can tell our listeners
Transportation is probably our biggest. We do a lot of Uber for these veterans, and it's the VA clinic here in Greenville will refer people to us about, hey, I need this veteran. Just got an email yesterday. Veteran needs to be picked up next Tuesday. He's having surgery. He needs to go to this point. So it takes 10 to 15. You know how it is with the Uber. It takes $15, for a round trip, a one-way trip, and sometimes a round trip. So money to try to for the transportation, get these veterans to their VA appointments, or to the hospital, to the doctors. It could be to go get a wheelchair or get a cane or whatever, So transportation is a big key. So we're paying the Uber ourselves. And we have one person, Antonia Martin Alexander. She coordinates all the Uber rides for these veterans. A lot of them are not technology savvy, so they don't have the Uber app on the phone. So we have to call the Uber, get them set up, and then call the veteran and say, hey, he's going to pick you up at this location, and he's going to take you home at this location. So it's real time consuming. So if we had some volunteers on that could help with the Uber rides, the coordination of it, to take it off of Antonia, because she's our secretary on the board. Yeah, but she's done an awesome job and just amazing person.
Well, I'm going to look at the camera right now and I'm going to reach out to our listening audience. If any of you are Uber drivers and you're willing to donate your drive, please call them. I met someone a week ago, Randy, who there was actually two of them. They were pastors. They saw me trying to put up, I'm a real estate agent as well, and I was trying to put a sign in the ground, and they were interested in the property and got out and helped me put the sign in. And both of them drive Ubers, and they said they completely donate all their money. They do charge, but they donate to an organization. So maybe there's a listener today who is an Uber driver, and they say, I won't charge, or I'll donate some of my fees. They just drive to meet people and to just encourage people. And that's the reason why they do it. They don't do it for a salary or an income. And we may have some listeners who are doing the same thing. So that's a real need that you have. And I'm just going to believe that the people in Greenville here in this podcast, or even in the upstate, are going to come together and help you in that area.
And JoAnne, some of these veterans are so lonely. Meeting an Uber driver and talking to an Uber driver may be the only person they talk to during the day.
Right.
And it's important that we take care of our veterans.
Right.
That's taking care of our country.
I agree. I see you getting emotional. It's important because they are hurting, and they are people who have served our country, and we do need to take care of them. I see your passion. So it's important that we do that. Well, Randy, what are some obstacles that you faced? I mean, COVID, I've heard from a lot of nonprofits, really took a big impact.
It did. We started after COVID, so that was fortunate for us, but unfortunate for the veterans. There was a need out there. And you're right. These veterans were shut in. They are from COVID. They can't go to the doctor's appointments. And unfortunately, some of them didn't make it.
Yeah.
And, if we can't take care of our veterans in this community, what can we do?
That's right. What can we do? I love that. If we can't take care of them, what can we do? Well, Randy, what advice would you have? There's other nonprofits. Nonprofit it's a tough business to be in. It really is. Because there are so many, but there's so many because
so many needs.
There's so many needs, right?
Yeah.
So what advice would you give someone who says, I'm thinking about starting this nonprofit? What would you tell them?
I would say be passionate about it. And if you don't have the passion, don't start it.
Yeah.
Or if your board of directors or who's going to be working with you, if they're not passionate about what you do, they'll fall by the wayside because the heart's not in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to have the heart in it.
Yeah, and I think everybody serving with you has to have the heart, right? Don't you think your board, your volunteers, because, then people aren't looking at their watch and saying, oh, I've been here, 3 hours, I got to go, and the porch isn't finished, right?
Yes. Yeah.
You want people who are saying, we're going to be here till the porch is finished.
Well, I'm telling you, JoAnne, with veterans, if they're going to stick with you, because it's like being in a foxhole with somebody and somebody's got your back, they're going to be there with you. So the veterans will.
Yeah.
It's some of the non-veterans that may not, but the veterans. But we're passionate about what we do. We meet once a week at 10 a.m. at the Elks Lodge, and we have about 30 to 40 to 50 members show up every week. And we talk about what are we going to do the next week, what are our plans are. We're going to work on this yard. Are we going to go build on this ramp? Are we going to build this bridge? Or are we going to work in this house, replace this electrical? We're going to buy a new stove. Well, what are we going to do for this veteran? So we try to plan it out during our meetings so we can do the rest of the week. So most of the camaraderie we get with other veterans is working on these projects together, and it brings us together as a team. And we joke about each other's service: Navy, Marines, Air Force, Army.
Yeah, the different branches are very competitive with each other.
They are,
sure.
but we love each other. But we still know we can have fun around each other as well.
Well, the great thing, and for our listeners who may not have ever served in the military, that camaraderie and that brother and sister fellowship is a little hard to understand.
It is hard to understand.
My husband and I, we joined when he was 19, so we were young.
I was 18.
In there for 9 years. And, I came from a very close-knit family, but I'm going to tell you, when you're in the military, it is a very close-knit family. And for our listeners, it reminds me a lot, now that I've been in the ministry for so many years, that it's like a church family that's really close.
That's exactly right.
If one of your church members has a problem, you're not everybody in the church, but the majority of those people who have that family connection are going to be there, and they're going to be there until that need is met. And the military is the same way. So maybe they're not vets and they may feel like they might not fit into that camaraderie, but if you're a Christian in that Christian church environment,
absolutely,
you're going to fall right in, and you're just going to fall in love with all of the people in your organization and the people you're serving. So
absolutely,
don't be hesitant if you're not a vet to come join the organization. I think that's really important.
Absolutely. You don't have to be there at our meetings, but follow us on Facebook. If you want to say, hey, we have Venmo, you can donate money directly to us. We're tax deductible, 501(c), so you can use your money for that. But it's about taking care of the veterans that's taking care of us.
Right.
And even active duty. We just worked in a mom's yard, single mom. Her son just got out of boot camp, and the code enforcement of Greenville County gave her a citation, and he and I developed a relationship, this code enforcement officer. He said, Randy, if I see a veteran that needs some help with the yards, he said, I'm going to call you. He said, I said, okay, so we'll come over there. And that's what we did. We went over there, worked on her yard, and he came out after he got out of boot camp and worked with us in the yard. So it was a good, even though he's active duty, he's still part of the group and part of the veteran community.
Yeah, I think once people start serving with you, they're not going to be able to quit.
That's it.
I think they're going to be hooked for life. I really do.
Yeah, if you're retired or if you got a part-time job and you want to come serve, it doesn't have to be a veteran, non-veteran, or if you just want to donate, we're going to make sure your money is being spent well.
Well, and I think, listen, a lot of seniors sometimes are lonely because their children have, now got grandchildren, and, there's not a lot of time that the family comes and visits them. But if you're still driving and you're still viable, maybe you don't want to go build a porch, but maybe you want to do the Uber and transport them back and forth, or come in the office and coordinate things over the telephone.
That's exactly right.
So it just sounds like there is no age limit, young or old. Anybody who wants to volunteer can definitely jump in and be a part of your organization.
Let me just say this too. We work on veterans' cars as well, because a lot of them don't have the money. So if you're a mechanic out there, if you're somebody that has mechanical skills, we'd love to use you. You don't have to come to the meetings. Just somebody we can pick up the phone and say, hey, can you go over and look at this car, see what's wrong with it? Yeah. We got an automotive place here in town, said they would try to help us on these veterans, and they'll take care of the labor if they pay for the parts. So that's Creative Automotive. They're here on Wade Hampton. So they decided to do that for us. They're a good organization. So I met with them. So anyway, it's anybody that wants to help veterans, and we make sure we work hard. We meet weekly. It seems like a lot. Most of these nonprofits meet monthly, but we meet weekly because the veterans want the camaraderie and come and sit down and talk to each other. And we do laugh and have fun, but we take care of serious problems too.
So what's your favorite part? It's going to be hard for you to answer that, because you've been telling me all kind of things you love about this organization. What's your favorite part of being president of that organization?
Watching these veterans when we help them. I was going to tell you about this 85-year-old. He lives at Towers East. It's the building. He didn't have a bed. He was sleeping on a sleeper chair. And he's 85 years old, Air Force veteran. So we all decided we're going to do something for Christmas. So we went and bought him a new bed, new mattress, and we surprised him. But the look on his face when we brought the bed and stuff in, it was amazing. Yeah, it was just
Randy.
amazing.
That makes me want to cry. I just love that. I think that is.
We're all going to partner with the Marines detachment. There's a U.S. Marine detachment here in Greenville. They're Toys for Tots. So we're going to be working with them, Toys for Tots, this Christmas time. So if you see the Marines out there or you see helping vets out there, if you got some time or some energy, if you want to help with Toys for Tots, trying to raise money we work with the Salvation Army and working with them to make sure that kids get toys for Christmas.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I hope that our listeners will not only help the vets by coming and being the hands and the feet, or the churches will get involved and that kind of thing. But, I hope that that people will donate to your organization to give you the funding that you guys need. And at the same time, I hope that our Greenville or upstate will really step up and be a part of your organization, because I think it is a wonderful organization. So Randy, tell our listeners, if someone wants to get involved, how do they do that?
Get involved. We have a Facebook page. It's the best. We're fair because we know some people don't do Facebook, and we have a phone number. We have a email address as well. But
let's give them that information so they know how to reach you. So what's your email?
Email's helpingvetsgreenville@gmail.com.
And the telephone number?
Telephone number, I don't know by heart. Sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry, JoAnne.
But in the meantime, you're on Facebook. Are you on any other social media?
We're not on We're just on Facebook at this point. But we're looking at a website. So that's some of the things we're trying to do is put together.
So we need some help with marketing,
yes.
and we need some help with the website. If you can't do it, but you can donate to it, definitely reach out to
Sorry,
Randy.
the number for contact is 864-402-9425.
Okay, give it to us one more time.
864-402-9425.
Okay, and so we want you guys to find a way to get involved. Don't think you're too old, don't think you're too young, and don't think you're too busy. Because I tell you what, when you help someone with all the passion I saw on your face earlier, I just know that we're going to see that same passion on their face when they see the results of the effort that they put in.
I promise your time and your money is going to be well spent. And we're going to make sure that's taken care of. And we're fiduciary responsibility. We have liability insurance for that, for the directors and officers as well, and make sure we're doing the right thing. And we're just passionate about helping veterans, and that's kind of why we existed, and why we're going to continue to exist.
Well, I think you're a great organization, and I'm going to have to find a way that I can definitely get involved myself. So we'll talk a little bit about that after we end. So I've got a surprise question.
Okay.
I always do this at the end, and I'll have to change my question once we start actually dropping our podcast, because everybody will know the surprise question. But here's my question. If you had one superpower that you could choose to have, what would it be and why?
Is that about the organization or just about me and you?
You personally.
Wow.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
I grew up in a family of 6, and my mom was a single mom, and she raised us pretty much by herself after my mom and dad divorced. And there were some times there were not food in the house. So I'd say world hunger. And I know it sounds corny.
No, not at all.
Sounds cliche from all the other folks that talk about it. Is I don't want to see people hungry, and because we live in America, and why can't we feed America?
That's right. We're in the land of the free, the hum, and the brave,
but
right?
But not only that, but the world as well.
Yeah. World hunger is definitely, but it's really sad when you think about the United States, and we do have homeless people on the streets,
yes,
and we have people, children who are in homes going hungry today, because oftentimes the outside of a home looks very different than the inside of a home, right?
Yes, it does. And
very,
you don't
different.
know until you walk inside.
Right. Well, Randy, thank you so much for joining me
You're
today.
welcome.
I loved learning about your organization. I personally am going to find a way to get involved. I hope our listeners will find a way to get involved. We've given y'all all of the contact information. Listen, thank you for joining our Get Local podcast. I hope that you will like, share, and invite your friends to join on our next episode as I bring you more businesses from the community who are going to share with you who they are, what they do, their struggles, their successes, and encouragement to other business owners in the area. So thank you for joining us. I also want to give a quick shout out to Brandon Higginbotham from 864 Sound. If you are even remotely considering a podcast, please reach out to Brandon. You can reach him at 864 Sound, get some information, and start your own podcast. He is absolutely amazing. So thank you for joining us. Thank you again, Randy.
You're welcome.
Thank you to our listeners. Until next time, Get Local signing out. Bye-bye.